from the betting capital of the world, giving raw and real breakdowns of mixed martial arts and recapping UFC events like no one else, with producer Martin on the ones and twos and combat sports betting expert Effie. You're listening to Any Action Sportscast. Any Action Sportscast. So put your headphones on and let's take this podcast to the next level.
This isn't a podcast. It's a sportscast.
What is up, guys? We are back. Thanks so much for watching another episode of Any Action Sportscast. I'm your host, Effie, and this week, there is no UFC. So there is no card to go over, so I thought, you know what? We're going to go over our results from last week and go over a few events that happened over the weekend that I think are worth mentioning. So with that, let's go over our results at UFC Vegas 60. We went 3-1 for positive 1.15 units.
Hide the money, y'all. There's poor people around. With your broke ass.
Let's start with the first bet of the night. We had Loma Luke Boomy versus Denise Gomez at minus 220, 2.2 units to win one. Let me tell you, man, I was pumped for this fight. I was super excited to see Loma fight. And a few seconds in, I thought it was going to be an easy win. She drops it with the front kick, is countering punches with her elbows real nice, and is winning positions in the clinch. But man, this guy's super greasy on the mat. Like, man, the grappling exchanges were so close in this fight. Loma had a fight to survive many times in this fight. She was also submitted multiple times. But she looks very improved in her grappling, and I'm just happy to see her win, man. That was probably my main event on the card. I was so pumped for that fight. I was sticking my flag and, really, rooting hard for Loma Luke Boomy there. I'm glad she came through, and that was kind of a foreshadowing for how the rest of the night was going to go. It was a sweat all night. After that, our only loss of the night came in Pat Sabatini versus Damon Jackson. We had the odds at minus 185. We bet 1.85 units on Pat Sabatini. Dude, and he got rocked, clipped early, and just got finished and pounded out after that. As soon as the fight ends, DC says he's about to cry, and I was like, what's going on here? And Damon Jackson looks really emotional. And sure enough, his brother had passed away not too long ago. And I was like, oh man, that sucks. It sucks that I lost my bet, but I was really happy for Damon Jackson, saw his family going crazy. So it's one of those bets where I was like, dang, at least it was early, at least the damage got done early. After two bets, we were 1-1, down 0.085 units. And so we really needed to hit our next two bets, especially our next one, which was a pretty sizable bet. 2.2 units on the Bill Algeo versus Andre Fili over at minus 220. Now, this fight was a straight-up banger, and I actually got called into work before the main card started, so I had to go home and rewatch this fight and see how our bet did. And let me tell you, this fight had my heart racing. The first round starts, it's pretty slow, with the beginning of that first round, and out of nowhere, Andre Fili lands a sick head kick and follows it up with some more head kicks throughout the round. He starts, clipping Algeo real bad, cuts him open, and it's not looking good for our over. And then in the second round, Bill Algeo comes on, and he starts hitting Fili pretty good as well. Like, both these fighters are swinging and banging, and I was just like, oh my god, this is a crazy, intense fight. Sure enough, we need 2.5 minutes in the third round, and my boy Algeo gets put in a body triangle with about 15 seconds to go for the over to hit, and I'm just screaming like, oh my god, don't tap, don't tap, don't tap.
Get it, get it, get it. It's a 3-horse photo finish. Get it. Ken. And on the wire, it's Giacomo. What?
And sure enough, he doesn't tap, man. He's got that dog in him, and the fight goes to the cards. I personally had it 2-1, Andre Fili the first and third. And, man, great fight. Both these fighters, had that dog in them, like I said. And we hit that bet, which brings us to our main event. Corey Sandhagen versus Song Yadong. Now, guys, I had 1.85 units on Corey Sandhagen, minus 185. And like I said, I was working during this card, so I was trying to avoid spoilers. And sure enough, I was coaching on the field, and I was coaching first base, and one of the parents to my left had the fights playing out loud, and I can hear DC. And I was like, no way, I've avoided spoilers the whole night. I've avoided the Canelo fight the whole night. I don't want to hear what's happening because I have a bet on Corey Sandhagen, and I can hear DC saying that the cut's not good, he doesn't look good, but I don't know who they're talking about. I'm just like, oh man, this could be bad, because I know Song Yadong's a dog. And sure enough, they say they call it. I see him go to his buddy. He goes, they called it. And I lean over. I say, it's a parent from a different team. I go, who won? And he goes, Sandhagen. And I'm just like, that elbow, that cut was nasty. Opens up immediately quick on a counter. And when they called it, I was happy. I was like, all right, hell yeah. I could see it. And it sounded like Soggy wasn't too devastated about it. He said he couldn't see himself. So Shout out to Corey Sandhagen, and who knows what's next. He called out Chito Vera, and I think that's a great fight. I think that fight needs to be 5 rounds, and I'm super interested to see the line on that fight. I personally lean Corey Sandhagen as the moment right now, but I'll be interested to see that line for sure. And with Corey Sandhagen's win, we go 3-1 on the night to finish positive 1.15 units. And considering how crazy the night was, I'll take it, man. There's a few things that happened over the weekend that I also want to talk about. I would be ashamed if I didn't mention the King of Rio, Jose Aldo, retiring. I will say his WEC reign, his dominance was a little bit before my time as a fan. And to go back and to see what he did as a featherweight, probably the best featherweight of all time, was pretty insane, man. He was dominating people. The RFA favorite fight really sticks out to me, and I think it's the only fight in WC that he had that went to decision. The guy's a legend. The guy's a pioneer. I wish he would be able to retire in front of fans, because I was actually at the Marab fight and the crowd was giving him a ton of love. It's pretty wild to think that I was at Jose Aldo's last fight. It sucks that he didn't get to retire in front of his home Brazilian crowd, which is what I thought he was going to do in January. But I gotta say, shout out to the legend, man. You gotta show him some respect. He's on my Mount Rushmore of greatest fighters of all time. And it just sucks to see him go without a proper send-off. Also, another thing that happened over the weekend, Canelo obviously won via decision. That fight wasn't even close. What was weird was the scorecards. 117 and 115s. That's insane to me. I had Canelo winning 10 rounds to 2. And yeah, that fight wasn't even close to me. I was shocked to hear the scorecards, but that's boxing. Another thing that I want to mention is Gordon Ryan. He, in my opinion, became the greatest Nogi Jiu-Jitsu practitioner of all time, as he just dominated ADCC. I was actually here in Vegas, and it sucks that I couldn't go to watch because I had to work. But dude, he's insane. I will say this though, it brings up the topic of should we allow steroids in sports? And I am pro steroids. Go ahead and let them all juice up, because why not? At least give them the option. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching that video. There's no UFC this week, so we have make some to talk about. And so yeah, man, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate all the support, and